After 1,000 years, in a world where human cyborgs and AI coexist, the AI Holy See has the power to judge all things, and the birth of any organic creature will be judged by AI Buddhas before it can have the right to be cultivated. The last human baby was born. The AI Buddha will test humans and cyborgs to cast judgment custody of the baby. The AI Buddha starts scanning babies, cyborgs, and humans in turn. Cyborg mother looked at the Buddha.
What is the final basis for judging who takes better care of the baby?
AI Buddha's electronic eye turns to Cyborg.
This is naturally judged by a fair computer system.
Human beings observe the baby by the stroller at this time. The cyborg also wants to ask what kind of mechanism is it. He was unhappy and tried to jump in front of the AI Buddha. However, after answering this first question, the AI Buddha enters the power-saving mode. At this time, humans had begun to tease the baby, gently shaking the cradle and the rattle.
Oh, what a little cute guy.
The cyborg looked very stiff and stood aside. He leans closer to observe, and then retreats to one side. After a while, he approaches again and tries to pick up the baby. He looks down at his mechanical arm and gives up again.
Baby crying for strange environment.
The human began to look for things in a hurry. His body was flustered, shaking and shaking.
Oh, little baby, don't cry.
The human lowered his head, still looking despairingly, then suddenly got up and threw pacifiers, bottles, milk powder, and diapers everywhere.
Is it this? Isn't it this? It should be this. Why this is not? What the fuck? What the hell? What's wrong?
The cyborg looked on coldly for a while and ridiculed.
What a waste!
And then the cyborg began to observe the baby. Its electronic eye was aimed at the baby for identification and judgment. The mechanical screen on the arm reported.
Test results. 41% of the baby was hungry. 41% of the baby felt uneasy about the environment. 18% of the baby needed to change diapers. And the above three items were the possibility of maximum probability.
The cyborg began, according to the test result, feeding the baby. But the baby didn't drink at all and cried out. The cyborg was puzzled.
Why don't you drink?
The human hurried forward without taking care of anything else. They shook the cradle, leaned close to the baby's cheek, and sang nursery rhythm to lull him sleep. But the cyborg didn't understand this human behavior, and so it began to try to change the baby's diaper and leave the baby without a human touch. The baby had not urinated and suddenly left the cradle and cried more violently. The human tried to stop it, but just afraid to harm the baby.
Hey, how can you hold him like that? You will kill him.
The AI Buddha suddenly opened his eyes, but the human and the cyborg were unaware. The cyborg began to scan the whole environment and reported errors on the screen. A thought split into Cyborg's brain. The AI Buddha knocked on the wooden fish. Cyborg and human noticed his entrance. Two lines appeared on the screen. The green line was slightly higher than the red line, indicating a narrow victory of human being.
This is the first round. You still have 2 chances.
The human was puzzled by the result, surprised and danced with joy. He looked at the baby and cyborg and the screen displaying the result again and again.
I can't believe that I've been a cyborg.
Carry on with the second phase of the experiment.
Baby crying because of hunger.
The baby is still crying. Although the human was surprised that they beat Cyborg, he couldn't help but start to get upset. No longer patiently comforting, he throws everything around at random and sits on the ground with his back to the stroller and started to lose his temper.
Why are children so troublesome?
The cyborg was annoyed with the result and ignored the human being. As before, he began to use the electronic eye to identify and judge the baby, and the mechanical screen on his arm recorded.
Test results. The baby is 80% hungry. The baby needs to change the diaper. 14%. The baby feels uneasy about the environment. 3.9%. Others maybe 2.1%.
The human lost their temper and couldn't bear more crying. He saw the cyborg's expensive toys falling to the ground and moved over quietly and picked them up. The cyborg hesitated about the test results. Even as the baby cried miserably, he didn't act immediately. Instead, he took a small step closer to the baby and tested it again.
84% of the baby was hungry. 11% of the baby needed to change diapers. 2.7% of the baby felt uneasy about the environment, and the rest could be 1.3%.
The cyborg began to take out equipment and prepare some milk powder. When the human saw that the cyborg didn't come forward to coax the baby, he took the toy he had just picked up and began to tease the baby.
You are just a thief. Do you have a clear understanding of how many bacteria you have that can make your baby sick and infected?
The human was stunned. The little toy fell from his hands and he sat timidly on the ground, one step away from the baby, and looked at the ground as if he had been hurt. The cyborg ignored the human and began feeding the baby.
Do you know how jealous I am of you?
Jealousy is a useless human emotion.
The AI Buddha now lit up the screen again. The result is displayed on the screen. Cyborg wins. The human being was now disappointed with the result.
Obviously, a low-level creature like you human can't win against a great computational cyborg. You will eventually be eliminated in the process of evolution.
Hearing this, the human being felt his fighting spirit rise and stood up.
The third round is beginning now. Enjoy your last moment.
Baby crying because of urine.
The baby began to cry again. This time the cry was stronger than before. It was obvious that he had drunk some milk powder and had recovered some energy. The cyborg started the test as usual.
56% of the baby needs to change diapers. 38% of the baby is hungry. 3.6% of the baby feels uneasy about the environment, and the rest maybe 2.4%.
The human noticed a smile. He tried to find the source of the smile. He soon realized that it was baby urine and took out cheap diapers from his arms.
Are you sure you want to do such stupid behavior?
The human stopped at once, but immediately responded.
It's better that you do nothing.
After that, he came forward and picked up the baby and began to change the baby's diaper. But the cyborg saw this and forcibly grabbed the baby from human. The human was powerless, stopped resisting and hung his head. But the baby in the cyborg's arm didn't cooperate very much and kept struggling. The cyborg spent some effort, but he still changed his diaper. The AI Buddha looked at all of this. Although the screen was blank, it seems that something was going on, and the signal light was flashing. The familiar red and green lines appeared again on the screen of the AI Buddha, and the cyborg had the upper hand again.
Congratulations! The cyborg is the winner.
The cyborg's limbs were suddenly out of control. He rudely picked up the baby and put his hand on the baby's neck. The human tried to stop it, but in that moment, the baby lost its life. The human was stunned. The cyborg seemed to have just regained control of his body and looked blankly at the dead baby in his arm. The AI Buddha slowly opened his eyes. After a while, he said,